Welcome back, guys, to another a new video for the channel, which is the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe walkthrough for the PS5. Well, you can do both for PS4 and PS5, but for this walkthrough, we're going to do for the PS5 first. So we're going to enter the game for the first time. It's going to be the complete walkthrough, this video. No other episodes or anything. So you can choose your subtitle language. Let's choose yes, because for us to access the extra things that the game has, let's go. Yes. This you just can press X. Done. Okay. Okay, now we're going to begin the game, and as soon as we start the game, we are going to quit the game. So the you can skip that. Quit to menu. And then close the game. Now let's go to the settings. Where is date and time? Set date and time manually, and now we're going to raise 10 years. There we go. Now we're gonna start the game again. Same thing, we just press X. Wait. What are you doing? You just told me the time is 12. Last time you played, you also said the time was 12, which is more likely you were starting this game exactly midnight twice in a row, or that you're just ignoring the prompt to correctly set the time. I think we all know which is one more likely. Do you not believe that setting the clock accurately is important? Do you think I would ask you to set the time if it wasn't vital to your experience with Stanley Parable? How reckless exactly do you think I am? The game wasn't easy to make. Do you think there was time to add frivolous fixtures with no meaningful impacts? Sorry, I got a little work up here. Look, I'll mark down right here that the time is 12, but I'm placing my trust in you that you're actually start playing the game exactly midnight twice in a row. And you will do me a favor? Okay, I'm not gonna read this. Let's begin the game, and we're gonna get 3 trophies. Quit the game and then start it again. Don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years. And award for getting any of the other trophies as your first. There we go. Now we're gonna quit to menu again. Close the game once again. Alright, now we're going to turn on the game again. And press X. There's going to be a new dialogue. And then as soon as we reach that menu, we close the game again and reopen the game. There's gonna be a new dialogue. And then same thing. This is the things we are doing is for a trophy later. Now we're gonna begin the game.
This is the story of a man.
Let's skip it, turn around, press X a few times to get another trophy. No, seriously, we disabled it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy? Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks? Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Now, in this door, we just press it 5 times. All right, now we go to the door 417 and try to open it 20 times. Let's go back to the 437. Now the 415. Now let's go back to the 437. Okay, I just make a mistake here. So let's start over. So as soon as you get this trophy, second door, you press it a few times, and then it will say to press 5 times.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
All right, so here's the thing. I made a mistake here. We have to press a few times. Then the narrator will start talking, and you have to press 5 times. He will say, "Hey, you have to press 5 times." Blah blah blah. Then he will say 20 times, which I didn't do correctly. So I was missing a few times. That's why I said 50 times. And now I have to press it 50 times. So let's press it until the narrator starts talking.
No. I'm still not feeling it. I want this trophy to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
All right, let's go to the 417. 20 times.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437 now.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Let's go for the 415, which is right here.
Now, back to door number 437.
Let's go to the 437. Let's go.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Let's go back to the copy machine now.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes!
And we got
We
the
did
trophy.
it!
Click on door
Oh, wow.
430.
That felt amazing.
5 times.
Oh, you really earned
That's
it,
amazing.
Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today.
Now, in here, it is
When Stanley
important
came to a set
go
of
to the
2
left
open
door,
doors,
or
he
through
entered the
the
door
left
on his
door.
left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to
Are we
go
going
up to his
upstairs?
boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
right here and left.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Now we're
Shocked,
going to press
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief
8888.
who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have
And
known
again.
was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
All right, let's continue.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay, now we're gonna press the button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Now we're gonna press another button. She's on our left.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power.
Now in here it's very important you turn, you press the button off
dismantle the controls
to unlock a different ending.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
For the door to open.
Where had his co-workers
finish the
gone?
game.
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
And we beat the game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Okay,
Perhaps he had
now
simply
we're going
missed a
just
memo.
straight to the boss office. So
When Stanley
remember
came to a set
left
of
side.
two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Now we're going to
Stepping into
press
his manager's
the
office,
code
Stanley was once
2845.
again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control?
Basically, we are
all this
doing the
time?
same thing
Was this the only
we
reason
did the
he was
first
happy with his
playthrough,
boring job?
first time we
That his
finished the game.
emotions had been
But we're going to
manipulated
do
to
something
accept it
different.
blindly?
Yeah.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
Now make
Stanley
sure you press the
decided that
on
this
button
machinery
instead
would
of
never...
the off.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
All right, now we have to prepare a few things
All of his
for
co-workers were
the
gone.
speedrun
What could it
trophy.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed
We're
a
going
memo.
to the boss office. There is a new door, but do not enter there yet.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
All right.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes
You
some
might notice
buttons.
that we
Oh,
don't
hey,
need to
look,
put the
it's a
code
new
anymore
passageway.
because this
Kills
will
the
automatically
breeze.
open. All right, so there's the thing. We have to begin the game again a few times or a lot of times in order for us to spawn in a blue room, okay? When this room is blue, then you're going to start to do the speed run, which we have to pass to finish the game in 4 minutes and 22 times. So I'm going to try a couple of times and then I'm going to pause the recording. This is completely random. You can, I don't know, maybe get after 2 or 3 times. Sometimes it might take a lot of times. I don't know. We'll see. That's completely random. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. And after that, I'm going to pause the recording. And I'm gonna keep doing it. No worries. You can, if you want, you can do this trophy for later. Okay, one more time. This is the time. Come on. Come on, you motherfucker. Give me the blue room. God damn it. All right, I'm gonna show you when you get the blue
Someone
room.
was following Stanley. He was sure of it.
Do
If he checked over his shoulder now,
speedrun.
he would surely catch them.
We have
It was
to do
only a
this
matter of
as
time.
fast as we can.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Turn left here, and then
Yet
right
there was not a single person here either.
to go a little
Feeling a
faster.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
And then that door will immediately open.
Here's the door, just go.
Now there's gonna be a trick that I'm gonna do. Just to try to get a few seconds.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large
save
door
a few
that
seconds,
read Mind Control
which is,
Facility.
after I press that button, go up the table, and then try to...
The lights rose on an enormous
There
room
we
packed
go.
with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the
go.
monitors jumped
We
to
can do
life,
the same
their
here,
true nature
if we can.
revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls
Now in the
labeled
facility
with
power
emotions.
will
Happy or sad
push the button
or
off,
content. Walking, eating, working.
and then we
all of
just
it
have to wait
monitored
for the
and
door to
commanded
open and
from
get
this
out.
very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided... blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before
So I
him.
didn't unlock the
This was
trophy
exactly the way,
because
right now,
I wasn't on the
that
blue
things were
room,
meant to
okay?
happen.
So
And
you have
Stanley
to
was happy.
start the game over and over again until you start the game with the blue room. And then you do this as fast as we can, and then you'll get the trophy. Now let's
Wait,
go for the
Stanley
test
thought to
achievement,
himself.
please.
Am I sure that the
Trophy.
orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
This is pretty straightforward. We just have to follow the narrator.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley
Instructions,
Parable
and that's
Ultra
it.
Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle? Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks, just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something! Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the Memory Zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. To be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure, like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as... What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their... The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
What the hell? Now we gotta go to the bonus content
Stanley
again.
decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others. So the thought of total solitude... Oh good, you notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you. You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. And here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Alright. Just follow along, guys.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes, you see, you'll come... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, what else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up.
Okay, we're gonna
You
get
simply
our first
collect all of them,
collectible.
and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable...
Ta-da!
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic... A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest,
Oh my
it's a
god,
much
this guy
more
talks a
convenient
lot.
solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2. Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already. All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now? So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
All right, let's go get the next collectibles. Starting the new game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number...
I'm gonna skip that.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up.
Now we're going to
Why
the
was
door
when
on
Stanley
the right.
came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Now we're going to press beginning the game again.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly
We're
after.
gonna follow the
Stanley
same
hoped
route.
that he would one day. Maybe Stanley would never pick up the bucket. A lonely bucket. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things.
There we go. Third one.
Mini stands. Stanley figs. What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Alright, so now let's go get the
The
rest
meeting
of the
room.
collectibles.
Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be a... Stanley, pick up the bucket.
God damn you, man.
Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Now we're going down
Coming to a
instead of up.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
And this guy doesn't shut up. Oh, now we're going all the way up the stairs again to the boss office. But instead of going right, let's go left. Okay.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler
We got
and
the
Marines.
fifth one.
Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then, different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Let's go inside the office. Input the codes 2845.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines. Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Alright, this part is very straightforward. Just have to follow the instructions of the narrator.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley. And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember? Hey, that's exactly right. It was here by the red and blue doors. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Now let's go through the blue door.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened. This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the boss's bathroom. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy. Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else. And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here behind the boss's office. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like. And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, the back of the boss's office. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
These guys so annoying. Oh my god.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
No, not again. Oh, it's fast forwarding. No, not bad.
Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rose... Oh, yes! The two doors! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions, he would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Let's choose Epilogue. If everything was done correctly, that will be the choice Epilogue. All right. Many, many years later. Now we have to wait here for a few minutes and see something change on the horizon. So yeah, we have to stay here for a few minutes. Or in this case, a few seconds for the first thing to change. Let's move forward. Now let's follow the cable. Okay. I've got it all. Let's continue. Okay, there's going to be an important choice here, so do not skip this too quick, or else we might fail. This part you can choose whatever you want, but we gotta be careful for the next part. Let's see, dreams of ice cream. Okay, now it's very important. Do you select let's do it? Okay, very important here. This doesn't matter. So confirming. Confirm. Now let's begin the game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
All right, you might need to open. If you see this door closing, you have to grab the bucket, and then we have to go through the new content. If the new content door is not open, you have to repeat some parts because you might have done something wrong.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features. Now here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you
There we
pull
go.
it, the trophy... As you can
That
see,
trophy
the machine is not
description,
working
please,
yet
please.
since... Wait, what in the holy hell is going on? You got the trophy? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't...
Okay, now we have to go into the settings and change everything to get into a single number. So everything. So we have to go through the minimum and then to the max, but don't hold the button, or else some of the options will skip some buttons, some numbers. This is for the next trophy. Oh. Wait a minute. There is some options that are hidden. Oh, see, I skipped some. We have to go all the numbers from the minimum to the max, even in audio. If you hold some of the options for too long, instead of going minus or plus 1, it will increase 10 by 10. It will start increasing 10 by 10, and then you're gonna miss some numbers. We have to do this a lot until we reach all the numbers. Oh my god, this is so annoying. Ah. Now this one, amazing. Okay, there's another one. Man, this trophy is so boring. Oh my god.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man. This is the story of a man. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Oh crap.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
The hell?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
It bugged or something.
This is the story.
Okay, this is the last setting, so we're gonna unlock the next trophy. What the hell is happening, man? Okay, I might have failed something. All right, I'm going to pause here and unpause it as soon as I get the trophy. There we go. I got the trophy. I might have missed some number in the music because I got the trophy here. Let me put this where it belongs. Alright guys, as you can see, we are missing 2 trophies, which is to play the Stanley Parable for the entire duration of a Tuesday. So what we can do is let the PlayStation, first you go to the date and time and change for a Tuesday. And then you can leave it how many hours you want, but it is cumulative, so you can do that in various days, a few hours every day, but you have to change the date to a Tuesday. All right, yeah, and you get this trophy, and we're gonna do another run of this one because I think I was too slow. So begin the game again. Let's go. As fast as we can.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
2845. Oh, don't need
Here's
that.
the door, just go.
The door opened by itself. Alright, I'm trying to go as fast as we can. So we have, I think, 4 minutes and 22 seconds.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that
If we
read
get
Mind
the
Control Facility.
blue room, it is easier because the path is a little different at the beginning.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control
And I messed up with the options to get the trophy, and now I have a big radical.
Been under someone's control
Oh my
all this
God.
time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
turn off.
Stanley decided... blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Done.
Stanley
We
felt
got
the
the
cool
speedrun.
breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation.
All right, guys,
The
here we
immense
go. We
possibility of
got
the new
another
path
completion.
before
We
him.
didn't get the
This was
platinum
exactly the
just
way,
because we need
right
that
now,
last trophy.
that things were meant to happen.
That we have to play for
Stanley
24 hours on
happy.
Tuesdays, or in one Tuesday, whatever you want. It's cumulative, so you can play like 3 hours one Tuesday, 10 hours the second Tuesday, or whatever. In order to be a Tuesday, you have to change the time, the clock, and there we go, guys. That's gonna be the trophy. I'm gonna require a little time to get that fucking trophy, but okay. Well, so hope you enjoyed this walkthrough for the Plus free game of the January 2025. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.